another in-state Power 5 team. All the pieces in place on a Sunday night from Iowa City. Drake and Iowa off and rolling with the Hawkeyes controlling the tip and right to the rim with Molly Davis.
And I don't know the rule if they count a half court off the jump as a fast break point, but if they do, that's already half of the fast break points that Iowa had in the loss to Kansas State.
That was the first key that you said when we started talking about this game, was Iowa's got to get a little bit more out running by themselves. And a couple chances at the rim for Drake, and the fourth goes down. The fourth try for McCauley.
And that's just a little bit of a frustrating start there for Iowa to get no bodies on anyone, and a couple of attempts for Drake.
Well, both coaches echoed they feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. Both teams play at tempo. Could be headed for the 70s or 80s in this game. Into Caitlin Clark, who zigzags to the rim, and it rolls off with a rebound for Anna Miller. This is a lethal three-point shooting team for Drake as a foul in deep on Stolke, the head coach for the Bulldogs from 1990 to 2000. Taking them to 3 Missouri Valley championships, 4 NCAA tournaments. Miller turns the corner and puts it down for Drake.
And that is a great sign for Drake, because Miller has done rebounding, blocking for this team, but she'd been off to a really slow start offensively.
A hop into the lane for Kate Martin, and there will be no shutout for Martin tonight. Drake out and running, and another easy basket with Becker underneath.
Yeah, you see Courtney Becker just establishing that seal inside, able to lob it over the top with no help.
Martin, who had that last basket for Iowa, no points in the loss against Kansas State. Only shut out twice all of last year. Drake shut her out, but not tonight, as Stolke has a layup.
Really nice attack from Molly Davis. You see that Drake defense is kind of a chaotic matchup zone, so you really want to continue to attack it, just like if it were a man-to-man defense.
Dizzying is how you described it when watching it on tape. Stolke and Clark away with it. Unlimited range for Caitlin Clark, and she goes in tight for 2.
And that was something Caitlin Clark mentioned post-game in that loss against Kansas State. She said, I didn't attack like I could have. I settled for outside shots. That was a great attack.
Well, there is absolutely nothing happening outside of the paint right now.
If you like scoring, this is a fantastic game. Both teams averaging in the 80s. This is going to be a high-paced game.
Oh, there we go. Look from outside for Clark. But 8 points aside, all inside the paint to begin this game. Dinnebier cut off, but leaves it on the baseline for Courtney Becker.
And this is a challenging Drake offense to defend, because there is constant motion. Right now, we've really seen the Bulldogs get everything off of movement and cuts.
And a free-flowing offense. Martin knocks down the baseline pop.
Lisa Bluter looking for a bounce-back game for Kate Martin, who she said was outstanding in the summer. Another paint bucket. Anna Miller, safe to say she's found her offense.
This has turned into the mic control.
Anna Miller was 1 of 18 on the season. Now she has already 2 buckets in this game.
0 for 2 start from deep for Caitlin Clark. Miller, a player that Drake thought would be one of their double-digit scores. They have 5 of them early, including this player, Grace Bird.
Have we even had a whistle in this game? I mean, these women are just on the attack.
I don't think we have. Have we?
I really don't think we have. No fouls.
Officially, no. So free-flowing start with Drake making 7 baskets in a row to lead by 4. Dinnebier into the paint, kicks it out. And the three-point shooting for Drake has been really good, but no hit from McCauley here. Clark going one-on-one on the cross. Oh, beautiful.
And that's where I think she's equally as good as she is at those deep threes. It was just a change of speed crossover.
Bird can't hit, followed from Becker into the hands of Clark. Foot on the gas in this game to start, and there is a whistle.
We almost made it to the under 5 timeout.
We did have a whistle because Stolke had the foul earlier, but this was the second one.
And Drake has just thrived off of the bounce. And then here's the transition game that we did not see from Iowa in the loss to Kansas State. Change of speed, Hezzy right to left, right to the rack. And that's something Caitlin Clark again mentioned. I didn't attack like that towards the end of the Kansas State game.
Kim, that was the first time since 2016 that Iowa had been held under 60 points at home. We're not to the under 5 yet. I think it's safe to say that's not going to happen again in this game.
It just felt off the other night. We felt tight. I feel like we haven't really found our rhythm yet this season, even though they've had some impressive wins. But it seems that this offense is flowing a bit more freely to start this game.
Dinah Beer into the posts. She can score down there too. Clark off the ball screen, knocks it down from the mid-range.
Great decision. Kind of a drop coverage there off the ball screen. So rather than go into the post player, she finds that sweet spot and pulls up.
And Berg lost the handle. Here comes Clark. No numbers for Iowa yet. Late arriving. Driving kick, Davis 3. Knocks it down.
Another great decision by Caitlin Clark, drawing a couple and finding an open teammate.
Iowa fans wanted to travel. This rapid pace slows into the half court. One of the rare trips that slowed into the half court tonight. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Didn't think we'd say that. And Dinnebier off the bottom of the backboard. No rim there, so Iowa's getting it on the shot clock violation. The coach has told us that if you're a fan of the ball going in the hoop, you are going to like this game on a Sunday night from Carver Hawkeye. Davis with a dead-eye 3, Iowa. Baranchuk.
Yeah, what a fabulous job she's done. So familiar with the conference. Was a 3-time All-Missouri Valley Conference first-team player herself at UNI. So this is really home for her as Sharon Goodman gets the scoring going inside.
And pressure for Iowa in the backcourt. Marshall up there making a play defensively for the Hawkeyes.
So I thought it was important that Iowa come out with high pressure.
Hawkeyes have made 4 in a row and a foul. Iowa starting this game 75% from the floor to begin. Inside 10 to shoot. Clark, an open look. And a little heavy on it, but an offensive rebound, and that size advantage for Goodman shows up.
A really solid possession, just working it around. Got a good look from Clark, and then following it up with an offensive rebound.
Miller can't get it right back. The rebound secured for a falter. Clark in there with a block. Miller protecting the rim for Drake.
Anna Miller, last year's Missouri Valley Conference Defensive Player in the Year at 6'3". You see the size, 19 per game. So something to monitor for them with how quickly that motion offense is. John Wooden said, be quick, but don't hurry.
Well, they've definitely played with pace to begin the year, and there's a turnover for Iowa, their second.
Yeah, they're averaging about 12 made per game, and what's impressive to me is really anybody who steps on the floor can make it. They almost play positionless. Anyone can post up, anyone can shoot the 3.
Falter with the takeaway, takes it herself, and heads to the free throw line.
And we're just seeing a different mentality tonight, Connor. Iowa getting back to the way they like to play in transition, and it starts with defense, right? It starts with creating a turnover or securing the rebound, and that is what allows you to get out and run, and we've just seen the Iowa guards be really aggressive going to the rim tonight.
That was a part of it for Lisa Bluter too, right? Coming off a game where they didn't have much of a paint presence or a transition presence. The guards can be a part of that too.
Yeah, this is a smaller Drake team. That's their biggest player on the floor right there. Anna Miller knocked it down from 3, but it's certainly an area that Iowa can attack is on the inside tonight.
That is a great sign for Drake. Miller has struggled from the floor to begin this season. her first outside hit. Drive and kick, and that goes down. Feuerbach with the three.
Much better ball movement from Iowa tonight. They had just 9 assists in that loss to Kansas State. They already have 7 in this first quarter.
Drake and Iowa, when they're at their peak, share it really, really well. Back to the rim. Dinnebier can't hit. A 13-3 run for Iowa continues with a Clark three.
I thought Sharon Goodman had excellent post-up position inside, but when you're Caitlin Clark, a little hand to the face, nothing.
Pass through the backdoor pass. Marshall, and Dinnebier gets hit.
This Iowa offense really flowing nicely. A falter, drive and kick, extra pass after Feuerbach, and then Caitlin Clark in rhythm. We never saw her find that rhythm in the loss to Kansas State. That was just smooth. She knows she's one of the best shooters that this game has seen. She talked to us today. She wasn't too concerned with her performance against Kansas State. She was just excited that they got to run it back just a couple days after that loss.
I can't remember the exact question we asked, but it was some variation of, "You worried about the shooting struggles?" And she's like, "Come on now." No.
You can't.
No.
I mean, the best shooters in the world at any level are going to have off nights. And what I was trying to figure out is how can we win basketball games when that happens? It looks like they may not have to worry about Caitlin Clark's shooting tonight.
Well, getting the post involved. O'Grady with the finish for Iowa. And right back at him with the three for Drake. Anna Brown off the bench for the Bulldogs.
And we said it, any player in a blue jersey can spot up. You have to be ready to defend the perimeter, anybody who's out there.
After her three, Brown with the steal for the Bulldogs. And Brown, their top scorer off the bench at 10 a game in this opening month of play for Drake. And final minute of this first quarter. And Drake came out scorching hot. Iowa stayed hot, shooting 72%. Dinnebier turns it back out. 8 on the clock. Three flies, and it's too heavy. And Thornshell can't hit. Back to Iowa with 30 on the clock.
And I was starting to get a little bit more comfortable with that Drake movement early on in the game. We saw Drake get a lot of easy layups off of back cuts and curls, and now Iowa's really pushing them out of the paint a little bit more and not allowing them to get those easy looks to the rim.
Well, Iowa could have held for one, but why would you? Kate Martin splashes one down.
Kate Martin was 0 for on the season from 3 coming into this game.
0 for 8 to begin the season. So she drains one. Now 5 on the clock. Martin energized by that 3. 2 on the clock. Davis at the horn, and that counts. Held under 60 against Kansas State. The offense is back for the Hawkeyes.
Iowa has erupted for 37 points. Molly Davis with the headband. She knows it. Iowa on fire.
In action, Caitlin Clark looked like herself in that first quarter.
Yeah, we were expecting a bounce back from the loss against Kansas State. She's up to 11 points. What I liked about her approach to this game was playing from the inside out. We saw her get to the basket, attack, and then that's her first 3 of the game, but she didn't settle for anything. She got things going to the rim, got comfortable, and she's been much more efficient than we saw on Thursday night.
Drake started the game going right to the rim, and they do in the second quarter with Anna Miller.
And again, this is a great sign for Coach Pullman and Drake, because she is one of their top scorers from last season and had really been struggling offensively. She's been efficient.
Martin, same spot as before.
Nice read from Hannah Stolke, drawing a little bit of a double, and nice movement without the ball from Kate Martin, finding a gap.
Clark shot the gap, but Brown recovers. Brown taking Clark, and Clark swipes it, and that's off Anna Brown. Nice hands for Clark.
She's dialed in on both ends. You can tell in this game. She likes to get after it on that end as well. You see her sliding. Sometimes you can get whistled for a foul, slapping down on the ball like that, but she didn't get too much contact there. 12 points off of turnovers for Iowa early in this game.
They forced 8 Drake turnovers, and they protected it. That's just their 4th turnover. On the double dribble for Stuelke.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup inside. Anna Miller with some good size at 6'3". That's one where Stuelke probably just wants to come to a jump stop and kick out, and then maybe repost.
Like you hit us with a little John Wooden in the first quarter.
That's what it came to mind instantly when I was watching film on Drake. It was just like, woo, these girls are moving quick.
But not in a hurry, right?
Yep.
A team that Wooden would like. Into the post, Berg up and under move. Can't finish, gets her own and puts it back.
She's their veteran. Coach Pullman talked to us about how her practice approach has changed.
A new enthusiasm she felt. Grace Berg has always been a pretty good game player. Added enthusiasm in practice has her off to a great start. A Falter with the takeaway. 2-on-2. And Clark can't turn it into 3. Stuelke puts it away.
And that's a great look for Caitlin Clark. It doesn't go in, but it was in rhythm, and your teammates are in position for the putback.
Well, this was a game that Lisa Bluter, the head coach for Iowa, figured that Stuelke would be on the floor a lot like usual, as that's a 3 that goes down for Drake again, a 40% three-point shooting team. But with Stuelke, this is a small ball Drake team. So the question for Lisa Bluter, how much can our other bigs outside of Stuelke play?
Yeah, and with all the perimeter firepower and the movement going on, you have to be ready to close out quickly to shooters.
Now there's Kate Martin finding some loose change. After IAMs hit the 3 last trip, Drake back inside with Grace Berg.
Yeah, really nice seal for Grace Berg with 4 out on the perimeter. Able to get the defender on her back and call for that entry pass.
And a help there on Clark. Quick hands for Hawthorne. Hawthorne staying with her, but Clark bullies her way in.
She's really just as talented going to the rim as about a 6-foot guard. Good length, good strength in her finishing ability.
Davis came down, hammered it away for Iowa. Davis says, "Nah, I'll bring this back out." Iowa still at the 70% shooting clip. And an arm bar called on Anna Brown. Number 1 in the Drake.
All the coaches for continuing to schedule these games, because these mid-major teams, UNI, Drake, these are some of the best mid-majors in the country, and teams like Iowa and Iowa State don't always want to face these teams. So credit to all of these head coaches for continuing to schedule these rivalry games.
Drake just beat Iowa State. Offensive rebounds and a foul. Free throws coming from McCauley. It would be really easy, right, to say, we'll play some lower level teams and maybe go out of state, not put our pride on the line, playing a team in a mid-major conference. But this is a pretty consistent game on the schedule for Drake and Iowa.
Yeah, all the time, and she said it's fantastic for the fans. Iowa played at Northern Iowa last week, and they sold out the building for the first time ever, so that the fans of Iowa are in for a big treat. We have seen numerous fans of all sports during our couple days here. It's been pandemonium, volleyball, football, wrestling. It's been crazy.
We may have hitchhiked here because of the busy weekend.
Getting here for tip time was in question as the Nebraska volleyball game was letting out.
Yeah, with wrestling here, you got in town last night, right when football was getting out. Hawkeye fans showing out in big numbers. Dinnebier gave it up. Somebody to watch tonight down here. Dinnebier fighting through the guards and kicking out for McCauley 3 that's long. Here's Marshall pushing tempo. Davis off little ball fake. And underneath, foul called. Feuerbach headed back to the line.
And I'm impressed not just with Caitlin Clark, but really we've seen a different focus from all the guards on attacking off the dribble, getting more involved in the offense, and instead of getting stagnant and wondering what Caitlin's going to do. Everyone seems a bit more confident in their abilities and roles tonight.
Well, it's helped having this player back. Feuerbach help out Caitlin Clark, of course, a player that missed last year with injury. A really cool moment, that win against Virginia Tech. She hits a three off a little jab. She was smiling all the way back down toward the Iowa bench, running back on defense.
I do remember that game. Talk about a sign of how the women's game is growing. That game had about 15,000 fans. Virginia Tech and Iowa on a neutral site in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Without a North Carolina team in the game. Drake had an early lead, playing from behind by double digits. And tough shot from McCauley.
Yeah, I was going to say that was well defended by Molly Davis, but McCauley had a couple inches on her, able to just shoot over the top.
6.6 rebounds from McCauley, coming off her career high 27 points in the win against Iowa State. Hands there, Martin fought through it, and Iowa fighting on the glass with an and one. And put back going down for Goodman. And she'll be at the line when we come back. Jump ball? No thanks. Let's go for the and one. Goodman shooting one more when we come back with the Hawkeyes up by 12. Hitchhike adventure here.
This is a first. I have never seen
the hot dog gun.
Hot dog gun. This is my first time in the state of Iowa, so I'm learning. Oh yeah, I'm learning a lot.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I've been to Nebraska a lot.
Finish out of the timeout for Anna Miller. I really can't believe that.
First time. Very impressed with the scene so far.
Say welcome. It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Called heaven for a reason. Iowa out shooting 65%. Drake at 55%. And the good shooting continues for Goodman in deep.
And Goodman is just really working for position. Lisa Bluter told us today she is an ox inside. She can really move people around. And this is probably the most aggressive we've seen in terms of getting position and demanding the ball inside.
Only 12 combined shots for the bigs for Iowa in the loss against Kansas State. Big emphasis on getting it to the post players. Marshall can't connect. Even with Drake falling behind, they can turn a game in a hurry with their outside shooting.
Absolutely. Iowa has to stay disciplined, and with this motion offense, Grace Berg, their leader, has just been really working inside. Finishes through a couple defenders there.
Berg up to 8 points in this first half. A couple in double digits. Clark and Martin for the Hawkeyes. Drake averaging 85 points per game. And Miller from that same spot can't hit this time. No Clark on the floor here for Iowa, going back into the post and steps there for Sharon Goodman on the travel. And actually a product of that emphasis of getting the ball to the bigs a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
squeezing it in.
Lisa Bluter probably likes the aggressiveness. You just want to be smart, and you could, work it to the other side and allow her to repost and try to get that single coverage position.
Inside 3 minutes to go in this first half. And Drake had the early lead in the opening segment. And Iowa's led for double digits most of this first half. Scrap for the ball underneath. And still free, and now a jump ball with the arrow to the Hawkeyes.
I think if there was a category for this stat, Katie Dinnebier might lead it in terms of players who are on the floor the most. When I'm watching tape, like every drive she takes, she's absorbing contact. She is not afraid to get after it on the floor.
Kim, that possession's over. Unless Dinnebier goes and gets a floor burn.
Yep.
Goodman, strong hands.
And that was the better read there because the help defender wasn't right behind Goodman. Caitlin Clark recognizing that and lobbing it in.
A quick fire, no hit for Brown. Clark tears it away. Martin already into double digits, and an offensive foul. Martin grimacing. She went down. Another toughness play with Dinnebier in there taking that.
Yeah, a good idea here. Kate Martin just made up her mind a little bit. Katie Dinnebier perfectly in position to take that charge. Coach Pullman called her a bulldog. They are the Drake Bulldogs, and I thought the same. But then when I was watching her, I was like, no, she's actually a pit bull. Like, she ups the ante a little bit more from a bulldog.
Different breed, Coach. Come on. Travel. Give it back. IAMs took steps and knew it. But yeah, Allison Pullman said that. Dinnebier's a bulldog, and we were both like, yeah, we know, Coach. She plays for you. She's a Drake Bulldog, but
yeah, she is really exciting to watch. One of the most aggressive point guards I've seen, can really get after it on the defensive end.
And that goes down for Taylor McCabe off the bench for the Hawkeyes.
And that corner spot, something can be open in that matchup zone. Another turnover for the Bulldogs.
Clark was just stepping into that range, but gave up for a better shot with Goodman. And it comes up short. And the takeaway. Another turnover. Iowa can go over their total from Thursday night on this trip. And McCabe does.
And how about the unselfishness from Caitlin Clark, who could have taken a mid-range pull-up. Finds her teammate Taylor McCabe with a couple threes off of the bench. Iowa continues to fire. It's defense to offense. Maybe not many better at Caitlin Clark than pushing the ball in transition. She could have taken that shot. Gets 2 feet in the paint, but finds an extra point from 3 from her teammate Taylor McCabe.
Such a quick turn.
I was like, where is this going? Thankfully, it had a positive turn. She heard the song Lil Boo Thing, which is a viral TikTok, and she played it at practice today. Girls were getting down.
Unconfirmed if she was walking through the woods on TikTok. Also, you're telling me you don't walk through the woods in New York?
It's risky. Too many unknowns for me. I'll stick to the well-lit streets.
The woods in New York is a back alley somewhere. One of the few times tonight Iowa slowed it down in the half court. Clark probing off 1 foot. It's pure.
Love the steady rhythm. Just waiting to see how the defense is going to defend her, and guess that little step back. 1 leg.
8-second difference, game and shot clock. 62 points on the board for Iowa.
They've scored more than they did in the whole game against Kansas State.
Into the post, turnaround for Miller. And the shot clock is off for Clark and the Hawkeyes, up by 21 points. Clark was thinking about the logo and scoops it in at the horn. Clark said that this loss on Thursday would not break us. It has not through 20 minutes in Iowa City. 64 on the board.
The Kansas State loss is a thing of the past. Caitlin Clark, she's into double digits, and so too is Sharon Goodman on the inside. So some different players in the starting lineup starting to find a little bit more rhythm and confidence.
And Stolke called for the foul. 6 seconds. That would have been a fast 6 minutes. 6 seconds into the third quarter.
The way that first half went, it's felt like that fast.
Yeah, really.
20 minutes.
It did. Both teams come in averaging over 80 points a game. And Drake second in the Missouri Valley Conference early in the season at 85 a game. They can hit you quick down on this end of the court. Late shot clock on this opening possession of the second half. Stolke has the defense in the post, and it's knocked away And off of Anna Miller, back to Iowa.
Yeah, really nice fronting there from Hannah Stolke. That's just a tough place to try to feed the post across the court, but they didn't have enough time to swing it around. But Drake, we mentioned that their problem in the first half was turnovers. So I did like that they were a bit more methodical and slowed down in that opening possession, even though they didn't score at the end of it.
Think we'll see more of that from Drake?
I think so. I think they have to be a little bit more under control. A little defense to offense certainly helps.
Unless they do that.
Katie Dinnebier, we know she likes to get after it on the defensive end, gets her hands on a lot of balls.
Well, Davis attacks quickly, and this is back out to Drake. And Dinnebier, who had all those floor burns in the first half, like she normally does. The steal and the take.
Yeah, she's got great hands, active hands, getting the deflection on that one, and that's a momentum swinging play that Drake needed to open up this second half.
Here's Berg. Can't hit the three, and a foul. Clark went upstairs and knocked over Courtney Becker. So first foul on Caitlin Clark in this game. Baseline out for the Bulldogs. And Drake, the reigning Missouri Valley Conference tournament champs, with 5 in a row to start the second half. Grace Berg with the outside hit.
And that was a situation where you forget about the inbounder. Iowa was playing nobody on the ball, and they didn't locate Berg, who passed it in and relocated to the corner.
Davis drops in a tray.
Molly Davis has looked smooth. She had some big shots towards the end of that Kansas State loss. And we talked to her about her patented headband today. It's a staple.
Her dad is here from Michigan, inside for another finish for Grace Berg. Molly Davis was telling us that her dad sews up that headband, retightens it to fix her head. So it's a good thing he's in town this week. Short for Marshall.
Well, this is interesting because she told us she only wears white headbands in the game, but she's got the black one on today.
Well, you're kind of curious, you know, the undershirt has to match the jersey. Does the headband have to? Apparently not.
Yeah, now I'm a little bit confused.
There's Clark on the take to the rim for the Hawkeyes.
She has been smooth in the open floor on the attack. She hasn't been out of control at all, really keeping her body in check and a strong finishing ability, even with some contact.
Berg getting shots up for Drake second half. Follow up from Becker.
This has been an impressive start out of the locker room for Drake.
Didn't get back on Kate Martin.
Yeah, I jinxed him a little bit there. Blown coverage.
Martin went over her season high in that first half, and McCauley wants some more blown coverage.
Lisa Bluter a little frustrated over there. Obviously a sizable lead, but some easy buckets for Drake to start the second half.
And a turnover from Martin. And Drake looks to push again. Berg kicks it out. Dinnebier rolls around the three.
And that was beautiful chemistry there. Grace Berg, again in transition, that secondary break, getting herself to the paint and kicking out to an open Dinnebier.
And so in what's been a high possession game, Drake has it to 16 points. Well, Marshall passes on the three. Out for Clark. Money.
If there's a player in the country you can't forget about behind the three-point line, it's number 22 in white. Just a miscommunication there from the Bulldogs.
Clark's second knockdown in this game from out there. She has the on-ball defense, and a travel is called. So Clark tying up McCauley. Turnover back to Iowa.
Chaotic matchup zone on one end and then just constant motion on the other. So you earn your breaks on this team.
I think back to one of the early post players Jenny Baranchek had at Drake, Sarah Ryan. Looked like she was just running baseline to baseline the entire game. You got to be really well conditioned to play for Drake. Into the post. Berg turns around and got hit. And a late foul called. Davis not too sure about it.
I continue to be impressed with Grace Berg's post-up abilities. She's a 6-foot player. She can play inside out, but she's using her body, kind of walking her defender up the lane, which allows her the space to catch that lob. Her teammates have done a nice job of finding her to start this second half.
We understand the player that comes from this state in Grace Berg, a player that's been around for a long time, playing at a high level, why there was so much talk about her at the Iowa shoot-around. Lisa Bluder telling her team, hey, let's see what we can do to get Berg in foul trouble. Maybe keep her off the floor a little bit tonight.
So far, that hasn't happened, and she's really starting to catch a rhythm here offensively.
And Berg up to 15 points, and Martin just keeps on scoring.
She's been really impressive. Seeing her in person today for the first time, I didn't realize her size. At 6 foot, she looks much bigger in person than on TV.
You've learned Iowa is as beautiful as you expect. Kate Martin a little bigger than you expected. Offensive rebound for Goodman, but ripped away. Hornshell out of the pack with it. And that's way off on the three. IAMs can't hit. Marshall, who had that terrific march from shooting outside, still trying to get it going from out there to start this year. Late clock, down to 10. A falter all the way to the rim, and it rolls down.
And that is a nice set that Iowa likes to run, where they load 4 players on one side of a player in the corner and just let players take it off the dribble.
And Berg tramples a falter, and the foul goes on Berg. Well, Drake was starting to push it. Looking like they were going to creep back in. That three from Dinnebier. But then Iowa right back at him and staying in front.
Welcome back to Iowa City. Well, we know Caitlin Clark can score the ball. She's up to 22, but the vision, the passing, one of the most underrated aspects of her game, in my opinion. She's gotten into the paint, she's kicked out, she's had some nice lobs into the bigs inside. She is up to 6 assists so far in this game, in addition to 22 points. It's been quite an outing for Miss Clark, who was looking for a big bounce back game, put that Kansas State loss in the rearview mirror.
So this is part of your rite of passage. You come to Iowa, you get to see Caitlin Clark, and you also get to show off something at our next ball.
Oh gosh, yeah, this is a first. Something was just delivered to us at the table. Kate Martin continues to have a good offensive night.
18 points on 8 of 9 shooting. No answer back from McCauley, but an offensive rebound for Miller. And Drake picked second in the Missouri Valley Conference behind Northern Iowa, who Iowa played earlier in the season. Here's Dinnebier. And that rolls down, rebound for a falter. And Clark looking to go. Oh, and the pass off target.
That would have been a nice highlight.
I think so.
As play is going on?
You have to eat it as you go. I mean, it's going to melt if you don't. One of the best concession items in the Big Ten and maybe in the country. Because that counts for McCauley. And she'll go to the free throw line for one more. Thoughts on the Carver Cone? Yes, no?
Great end one there. I'll quickly give this a 10 out of 10 rating as we look back. Taylor McCauley, tough take, just absorbing contact, the lower body contact. But this is a very good ice cream cone, the swirl of the chocolate and vanilla.
A falter on the finish for the Hawkeyes. Welcome to Iowa. We're happy to have you here.
Excited to be here. I know I'm coming back at least one more time this season.
Miller left open and knocked out of bounds back to Iowa. You talked about it a little bit, keeping this Iowa team loose. You know, there was, oh, you just dropped your carver cone. Oh,
I'm
no.
Sorry, the cone tipped over. It's on the broadcast table. Turnover by Kim
Adams. Wow. Miller left open again. Can't drop it in. Rebound Clark. And that was a big part of the message, though, for Iowa was, you know, fighting a little bit of fatigue as Clark looked very sharp tonight. Fighting a little bit of tired legs, but also maybe some internal pressure on themselves before that Kansas State game.
Yeah, they just look looser tonight. Caitlin looks looser. Her teammates look more confident. They're finding each other. They're making the extra pass.
You know, both Lisa Bluder and Caitlin Clark, when we talked today, were very not super critical of themselves, but holding themselves accountable. That it's on them, those two specifically, to get Iowa back to where they're used to playing, and they have.
And Caitlin Clark also took that accountability. She said, as the point guard, as a leader for this team, I need to find ways to get my teammates more involved, to put them in opportune situations.
Strokes in another one, Caitlin Clark.
And it seems to me, Connor, she's just really let this game come to her. She's relaxed. She's scored in different ways. She's gotten involved in passing, and that was just a smooth-looking J.
And the answer back for Anna Brown.
Really nice look. We know that this Drake team can shoot at top 10 in the nation and made threes per game.
And also block a lot of shots. And Hannah Miller with the block to lead for two for Dinnebier.
Dinnebier, just a physical guard. You can see the strength on her, can just find her way to that rim.
And you can see it with Drake. They're going to be a contender in the Missouri Valley. And they picked second behind UNI. Illinois State. Belmont also up there in the preseason poll.
Yeah, this is a Drake team that not only advanced to the NCAA tournament last season, but they nearly knocked off Louisville in the opening rounds. As a 12 seed going up against the 5 seed, they lost by 2 points in that opening round.
Dinnebier had it blocked. 2 seconds on the clock for Clark, and she won't take it. On that final
team that has looked a constant right now is South Carolina. I mean, wow, what an opening couple of games Dawn Staley has put together after losing her entire starting lineup from last season.
We mentioned NC State, UConn, of course, opponents of Iowa last year in non-conference. Right after those two games, that not that Iowa really needed to find it because they had a good team all year, but took those two losses and then pretty much off to the races from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no cause for alarm for any sort of loss at this point of the season. When you think of the Kansas State loss, I mean, this looks like a perfect opportunity where it was a bit of a wake-up call for Iowa. We have seen a resounding response today. And how about Kate Martin has just been on fire. She was scoreless in that game. That free throw gives her, is it 20? 20, and she is 8 of 9 from the floor.
The rebounding was there for Martin the other night. But like you said, didn't score. And she has doubled her season high early in this year. And 9 on the clock. And to the back door, that's tipped. Sharon Goodman with hands on it. And Clark looking for runners with her. And she finds Goodman streaking to the rim.
How pretty is that? To Caitlin Clark again, the distribution. She's been all over the stat sheet tonight, encroaching on her typical triple-double levels. So unselfish there.
And I think she hit herself in the head with that ball, frustrated that was a foul.
And she has just patrolled the floor tonight. Perfect timing. That gives CC her 8th dime of the night. And also credit to Sharon Goodman. Those two have really had a nice connection tonight in terms of Goodman moving without the ball and finding openings. And Caitlin has been on the money all night to her.
Like you said, on triple-double watch. Just saw her stat line. Clark with 27 points, 8 assists, and 6 steals.
Yeah, the steals are getting up there tonight, too. She's truly putting together a multifaceted game.
When Drake came out of the gate hot, it was basket for basket in the opening 5 minutes. And then Iowa stayed hot, shooting 75% most of that first quarter, and that goes through. Outside hit for Fornshell.
Really nice possession for Drake. They stayed patient. They got the curl, and then it sucked the defense in, and that's what allowed Fornshell to find that opening on the perimeter.
Coming into this game, the 3 players shooting over 40% from 3 for Drake. As Martin continues her big night, up to 22 points.
On 90% shooting, 9 of 10 from the floor for Kate Martin. And another curl from Drake, continuing to find success on the movement. Ava Hawthorne that time.
Hawthorne from Ames, you got to think that meant a lot to her, beating Iowa State the other night. Martin was feeling good, misses down to Berg. This is a night where Kate Martin's gone for a new career high. 22 points, had 20 against UConn last year, and she was on the defensive Berg there who puts it down.
Well, Connor, we talked to Lisa Bluder this afternoon about who are some other pieces that are needing to step up, and she said Kate Martin. Can she do it again? Kate Martin is on fire right now. Make it 10 of 12 from the floor, her 3rd 3 of the night. But Lisa Bluder told us that this summer, Kate Martin looked like a pro. She said, wow, we're seeing that Kate Martin tonight here in Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah, big eye-wide statement from Lisa Bluder today. Martin has come out here tonight shooting like Caitlin Clark.
Ooh.
There's 100 for Iowa.
Caitlin had the tongue out on that one. We'll have to see if we had the close-up on that one. She is feeling it tonight, folks.
So 100 points. Everybody goes home with Carver cones, right? Everybody?
It should be if it's not already the case.
15,000 Carver cones all around.
Iowa Hawkeyes are lighting up the nets. Kate Martin has had a tremendous offensive output and a deep one from Caitlin Clark. Look at that response. The tongue is out. She is feeding into this Carver Hawkeye crowd. That gives her 30 points on the evening, which matches her season average.
We talked a lot about the post players getting going for Iowa, getting them chances. 3-point shooting was a big point of emphasis, too. This will be an easy one for Clark. And 2 more.
Woo, Caitlin Clark locked in on the defensive end as well. That's at least her 7th steal tonight, just getting out in the passing lanes.
Oh, nice pass from Berg. We found Dinnebier on the back end for Drake. Clark wants more. She's got more.
Come on now. She gave us the "Are you not entertained?" arms. We are certainly entertained. Same spot there, back to back.
She is just buzzing around the floor with those 7 steals tonight. She wants more from the crowd.
Caitlin Clark getting everything tonight. Defense to offense in the passing lane. And we know she could do a little bit of this. A couple steps out. Caitlin Clark, absolute cash. The team has 13 tonight. Caitlin Clark with 5 of those. Talk about a complete 180.
Iowa came in, even with the 3-1 start, worst 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten to begin the year, which was surprising. And even no doubt about it tonight, in and out. That one a little bit short on the bunny for Goodman. And Drake in this game led by Berg's 17 points and into Miller. She'll head to the free throw line.
Yeah, we can't forget that Drake has had some really nice moments in this game. They caught Iowa on a really tough night. You knew that Iowa was not going to be feeling good about that loss. and they were just going to come out blazing, and they certainly did. But Drake has shown some really nice moments in this game. They're still close to their average.
This is a Drake program that Allison Pullman was a part of as an assistant 2016 through 2019 that won 47 Missouri Valley games in a row.
Wow.
They were to the Missouri Valley what UConn was to the country for a while.
Really impressive.
You know, they kept it in-house. Have some of the players from that team still involved in the program. Becca Hittner is a graduate assistant. Jackie Stiles, Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley several times. Iams long on the three, and Goodman got a piece of that. It's Drake ball on the baseline. Oh, heavy action up there on the elbow. It's a foul on somebody. They'll go on Iowa. The falter will be called for that. Miller setting the screen for Dinnebeer. Nowhere to go inside. Now Iams in there, and Goodman called for the block. Iowa has hit the century mark. Allison Pullman, the former head coach, now the current head coach.
Well, I got to say, looking at those photos, Lisa Bluder is a trendsetter and a woman ahead of her time, because all of the fits she had in those photos are back in style right now. The matching pantsuit, the little wide leg trousers, the high collared blazer. Like, she was styling back then. She still is. But wow, loving the fits.
So when we look back at pictures, maybe when she goes into another Hall of Fame, then another Hall of Fame in, like, I don't know, 20 years, history will probably be kind to her in that way again, don't you think?
Yeah, she goes with the kicks now. We got the Nikes on, I believe.
An offensive foul on Iowa. Well, Allison Pullman, we asked her kind of a similar question. Caitlin Clark's going to be done for the night. Little bit shy of a quadruple double. That's all right. 35 points up on the board, 10 assists for Clark.
Very deserved round of applause. We love to see that smile. Again, she told us today, I wasn't having fun, the team wasn't having fun. Something that they really stressed today, getting back to the joy and playing. And what a free-flowing, relaxed performance from one of the nation's best tonight.
We got a pretty good visual of how loose Iowa was at their shoot-around today. And that dance party broke out. And Clark was right in the middle of it. There's Berg again. The whole team was dancing. Caitlin Clark was like laying on the floor in the middle of them. And everybody was like, get up, dance with us.
I was tempted to get in that circle, I'm not going to lie. It's a good song. It's a catchy song.
Oh, you were like the New Yorker in me is telling me.
It was tough to stay on the
I got to be mid-dance floor right now. And so go back down the other way. A little inside, 4 minutes to go. Well, Clark playing against Drake tonight brought her down memory road a little bit today. Jenny Baranczyk, the old Drake head coach, of course knew about Caitlin. Everybody knew about Caitlin Clark as a recruit. And Drake had a pretty good idea she was going Power 5 early. But Baranczyk, the old head coach at Drake, and Clark both went to Dowling Catholic, so they had a close relationship, still do to this day, even with Baranczyk now the head coach at Oklahoma.
Yeah, Caitlin from West Des Moines said she grew up as a fan of Drake men's and women's basketball. She really looked up to that program.
Yeah, grew up going to the games at the Knapp Center. Becca Hittner, who's now a graduate assistant at Drake, is a player that she grew up watching. 6 years ahead of her at Dowling Catholic. Clark's cousin was on a state championship team with Hittner before she went to Drake. She said, that was my idol, Becky Hittner.
Yeah, Caitlin said, like, when she was in middle school, they actually would sneak her into the practices. And I was like, I just know that Caitlin was probably a 10-year-old getting 20 points against high school seniors. I just know it.
Yeah, you asked that question, and she's like, I don't know, and you jumped in right away. You got 20 on some 16-year-olds at 10, didn't you? Yeah, two of the greatest to ever do it at these programs. Becky Hittner for Drake, part of that 47-game winning streak in the Valley when she was a player, multi-time conference player of the year, now taking the coaching route. And that's short for Fornshell. And Iowa tries to add to what's been a 109-point night. And substitution timeout. Jada Gyamfi coming in for Iowa. Gyamfi and Johnson onto the floor for the first time. This is a player right here for Iowa that you could see some time in some big moments as the year goes on. Taylor McCabe, Nebraska Player of the Year as a high schooler. I've seen her get some good run in this game tonight. Hit an outside shot earlier. And she's caught up on the defense of Hawthorne. 2 to shoot. Iowa's got to get it to the rim, and that's short. Feuerbach could not get it away on time, and Drake will get it back.
Yeah, Taylor McCabe actually knocked down 2 threes. And when you play with Caitlin Clark, who can find you the way that she does, as long as you're ready to shoot it, she is going to find you on the perimeter.
Feuerbach almost had the turnover. Shot clock doesn't reset. And that 3 is all net for Hawthorne.
Yeah, this Bulldog team can really shoot it. Maybe not as well as they typically do. They have 8 threes on the night.
And Gyamfi in the book, scoring for the Hawkeyes. And fouled down the other way after Gyamfi got the crowd going.
And this is a Drake team that averages about 12 made threes per game. Nice kick out here. Out to the perimeter. And they're certainly going to be a team to be reckoned with in the Missouri Valley Conference. As you mentioned, they were picked 2nd behind Northern Iowa. They really got some confidence from that NCAA appearance, nearly taking down Louisville in the opening round last season.
Allison Pullman had some fun words about Missouri Valley Conference basketball. She said it is must-watch TV. Well, that'll make Associate Commissioner Jack Watkins, who's in charge of the TV over there, really happy. It's a good selling point. Watch some Valley games this year. On the cross, Feuerbach all the way to the rim.
What a take from Feuerbach. Almost dropped her on the crossover. Was toying with him a little bit on that drive.
The final minute in this game. Drake about to take their first loss of the year after a 3-0 start, including the win against Iowa State. And this is through the back door, and clean defense from McCabe. And now we have a tie-up. Jump ball keeps it right here with Drake. Well, the conference has changed a couple of times for Drake in the Missouri Valley. Commissioner Jeff Jackson, great job going out and getting Belmont, Murray State, UIC added to the mix last year. One of the constants, though, has been this Bulldogs program. Always a postseason contender in women's basketball. And Johnson down the baseline. Crowd wanted her to get a shot. Instead, gave it up. And O'Grady couldn't hit. So Iowa on a night where they were trying to bounce back after a low-scoring night, the ultimate high-scoring night. In and out, rebound O'Grady, and that almost did it. Now this will go back to Iowa. And the Hawkeyes should be able to dribble it out with 7.6 left.
Yeah, bounce back and then some. I mean, Drake is a much better team than what appears. Right now, they were 3-0 coming into this game. They just caught Iowa on a tough bounce back night.
A loose Iowa team, all smiles after 113 on the board, led by Caitlin Clark's 35. Number 2 looking like number 2. Hawkeyes bouncing back 4-1 on the season, beating Drake 113-90. We'll wrap it up, including a visit with Caitlin Clark after this. Caitlin Clark said this loss will not break us after dropping one to Kansas State the other night. Proof prophetic. 35 points. Iowa wins at 113-90. Connor Runyon back with Kim Adams. Kim is with Caitlin Clark after a big night.
All right, Caitlin, we talked to you this afternoon. I know you weren't happy with the last game. Your team wasn't happy. You wanted to find the joy in playing again. Mentally, how did you feel out there today with such a monster offensive and defensive performing?
I thought we played really well. I think it was great team basketball. Our transition offense got back to what it is. And you'll have games where you don't shoot the ball very well, but I don't think we responded very well last game. But I think this just shows the maturity of our group and how we can respond, and I'm proud of how everybody stepped up. Kate Martin was tremendous today, and I'm happy for her. Kind of started off a little slow this season, but we all know Kate's the type of player that she is, like how she played today. So I'm just happy for this group.
Yeah, in terms of your performance, Kate looking good, but how are you seeing your group kind of find the chemistry as a whole tonight?
Yeah, I think we're, just learning along the way. Obviously, it's a new group that hasn't played a ton together, and obviously me, Gabby, and Kate have, but Hannah Stolke, Sid, Molly, Sharon, I thought they were all tremendous tonight. I think we could have got Hannah the ball a little bit more, but overall just really good, and when you have different people step up every single night, it's really hard to scout, so it's really good for this group.
All right, Caitlin, well, that was really fun to watch. Thanks so much for the time, and we will send it back to Mike Hill in the studio.
Mike, take it away here in a few. This is a wrap from Iowa City. Iowa wins at 113-90. Number 2 Iowa looking like it tonight in an in-state matchup. Kate Martin with the career high in points. Caitlin Clark with 35. We thank you for watching. Kim Adams, Connor Runyon, good night from Iowa City. Now we send it to Mike Hill in our Los Angeles studios after this break.